Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Here I will talk about Venus and I will break down a lot of the Venus connections that I saw in the tour interludes and throughout Beyonce's work. So let's get started here. Right here we have The Birth of Venus, which is a painting, as it says, by the Italian artist Sandro Botticelli. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Um, but it depicts the goddess Venus arriving at the shore after her birth, when she had emerged from the sea fully grown. So we all know the story of Venus, how she was birthed. She was birthed from the sea foam. Now I am going to mix a lot of mythology, so I'm going to try to explain where each one comes from because their gods and goddesses overlap at times. So now I'm going to segue to Aphrodite. Speaking of the pearls, Aphrodite was known to cry. Aphrodite was known as her tears being pearls, but her tears was from joy. As I said, the Greek and Roman mythology overlaps sometimes, so I'll do my best to explain it. So here it says, Venus is the Roman name for the Greek goddess of love, beauty, and fertility, known to the Greeks as Aphrodite. So again, whenever we talk about Venus, we're talking about Aphrodite. Whenever I talk about Aphrodite, I'm discussing Venus. And here is the description for Aphrodite. Aphrodite is the ancient Greek goddess of love, beauty, passion, and procreation, again fertility. She is one of the 12 Olympian deities and is famously associated with symbols like the dove, myrtle, and scallop shell. In Roman mythology, she is known as Venus. So again, they interchange. Venus is Aphrodite, Aphrodite is Venus. Now here it says in ancient Greek mythology, the color purple is deeply tied to the goddess of love, Aphrodite, primarily through her sacred associations with Tyrrhenian purple dye. Also, to drive home the point even more, this is Aphrodite in the Disney film, Hercules. In the character information, you see it says other names Venus, and her appearance is beautiful pink skin, long blonde hair, blue eyes, long eyelashes, purple eyeliner, purple single strap dress with pink heart-shaped brooch, golden ankle rings, golden high heels. Again, this is Aphrodite. This brings me to this image here of Beyoncé, where she's holding the pearl, her pearl purse. She also has a diamond and pearl necklace, but see the purple dress. I think it's a little hint of Venus, or aka Aphrodite. Now remember, Venus is Friday, right? And Venus is where we get the sign for the female symbol. It also is where we get the hand-held mirror. Now let's go to Beyoncé. See, there's the purple and the hand-held mirror. I think she's hinting at Venus slash Aphrodite. Now, this one might be just a little bit of a stretch, but I'm just going to include it to carry the point even further. In Greek mythology, the goose is a sacred bird of Aphrodite. Artists in antiquity frequently depict the goddess of love riding side saddle on the back of a flying goose, symbolizing her dominion over the element of air. Here's a picture further explaining. Further look at Aphrodite on a flying goose. Now let's look at this picture. I know, probably a stretch, but when I seen this image, I immediately thought of a bird or something with wings, so maybe that's an association to Aphrodite in that way. However, another interpretation is Aphrodite is connected to doves. If you look at the color purple, you think Prince, and then you think, of course, when doves cry. And of course, purple rain, so that could be a tie-in as well. And fun fact, Prince's iconic love symbol is a symbol of the female symbol Venus with the Mars symbol male. So that could be a reference to all of those things as well. Now, this isn't the interlude I want to break down, but I did want to point out this when we're talking about Venus. We talk about the iconic plastic off the sofa in Bergel's Grue section of Renaissance tour. And you see the purple lighting around it, the seashell, her rebirth, her renaissance, her house of chrome, the imagery and the symbolism. Chef's kiss, Beyonce, you're a genius girl. I'm actually going to have to make another video because there's so many Venus connections that I just could not fit it into this one video. And we still haven't even got down to the breakdown of the interlude, but I am going to include that in this episode. So this is the interlude I was talking about. So let's break down this interlude. You see the church and um it pans up to her. This is where we got the skeleton red outfit, and I did not notice that. And look at it going up to the sky, and boom, you see the stars in the night sky. And here comes Beyonce. Now, if you watched my other videos, you know how I talked about constellations in the sky and how I think that is a hint to a portal, how she's telling us through mythology, through astrology and everything. But this really breaks it down even more, and it was right in front of our faces the whole time. But basically, Beyonce turns into a constellation in space. Before I finish out this, I just wanted to interrupt that real quick to say this. Because Venus is the brightest celestial object after the moon, ancient cultures globally associated it with gods of love, war, and the underworld. Its unique cycle as the morning and evening star fueled rich sky mythology and astronomical tracking across civilization. Known as the planet Ninsiena, it was the star of the goddess Inamna, later Ishtar. Remember that part. She was a powerful dual-natured deity, both love and warfare, so love is the symbol of Venus. Warfare is, if you remember, the symbol of Mars, love and war. Now you think back at that Prince symbol, love, war. The symbol for the male sign is from Mars, Venus, Mars. Let's continue. Her movement in the sky, where it disappears near the sun, inspired the famous myth of Inanna's descent into the underworld. Now let's get back into the actual breakdown of the interlude. So here we have Beyonce. She was just a star in the night sky. And now we have a light appearing, making some sort of symbol. As you reach its full symbol, it looks like a 8-pointed star or 8-pointed flower. And look there, you see it looks like gates or some sort of portal. And then we go into it creating more lights, and we go into Beyonce on the stage. And there we see she starts with, look at that symbol. Remember the crux symbol I was telling you about? Once you see it, you can't unsee it. I don't know, that might be a connection there. But moving on, this is basically what that symbol turned into. You see the 8 points, kind of looks like the 8 star or 8 rows. Look at this. The Venus rose of Venus, refers to the geometric floral pattern traced in the night sky by the orbit of Venus relative to Earth. While it is fundamentally a 5-pointed geometric pattern that takes 8 years to complete, the 8-year duration is the primary reason the 8-pointed star is also symbolically tied to the planet. And look, the 8-year cycle and the star of Ishtar. The number 8 is deeply connected to Venus for a specific reason. The 8-year cycle, the star of Ishtar, the number 8 is deeply connected to Venus for a specific reason. Every 8 Earth years, Venus completes exactly 13 orbits around the Sun. During this exact time, Venus appears to switch between being a morning star and an evening star 5 times, completing 5 synodic cycles that trace a 5-petaled pentagram flower in space. Because Venus returns to the exact same position in the sky every 8 years relative to the fixed stars, ancient Mesopotamians symbolized the planet with the 8-pointed star, often called the Star of Ishtar, representing the goddess of love, beauty, and war. So again, Venus, Aphrodite, and now Ishtar. Again, perfect late for a matrix or a multiverse. Wow, this is the star of Ishtar. Now let's go back to the 8-year cycle, and I know, we don't want to hear this, but I think the visuals are coming. In 2030, which is 8 years from Renaissance, and she won't go in that exact Venus cycle. I already checked the numbers, it does not line up. But this may be a storyline in visuals. I think that's a possibility. Also, it would be pretty iconic that the 8th album, Beyoncé's 8th studio album, Cowboy Carter, arrived on an 8-year Venus cycle. From July 22nd, 2022, which would be Renaissance the Rebirth, to 2030, that will be an 8-year Venus cycle. I don't know, I think that's when we hit the visuals. Thank you for watching, and I'm just a Beyoncé nerd. I hope you enjoyed the video.